Hello and welcome. I'm very pleased to hello and welcome. I'm very pleased to welcome you to our podcast series called Vintage Violet. In this series, we introduce you to independent artists of India. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Mr. Vien Singh, a designer by profession, an artist and a painter by passion, and what's it called?
Writer. And writer.
And a writer by reinvention. Vien is a very dear friend of mine, so I find it very difficult to introduce him and take an objective look at this because he's a man of such flamboyance and flavor and color that there's so much more to him. But today we've invited you, Vien. I have to repeat this, right?
You can repeat.
So it's my pleasure to introduce you to Mr. Vien Singh, a designer by profession, an artist by passion, and a writer by reinvention. Welcome, Vien.
Thank you.
So, Vien, can you tell us a little bit about yourself before we begin the actual podcast?
I normally find it very difficult to speak about myself. However, I'm going to try and give you a thumbnail sketch. I've been in the fashion profession for over 50 years. And then COVID happened. I had to reinvent, and that's when I started writing. As for painting, I was always interested. I was always interested in color. I was always interested in creating. However, I was told in school that I was useless and that I should not even pick up a paintbrush. I was just wasting everybody's time. Then in 2013, I just started. I felt I needed to express myself. Even if I made a blotch of everything, it was okay. It was canvas, it was oil. I could always paint over that. So that's when I started painting, as late as 2013. And anything to do with art, anything to do with color, anything to do with design interests me. I've done a little bit of interior decoration as well. I cook. I don't want to sound like I'm beating my own trumpet, but I do enjoy things which are creative.
So, can you tell us, take us through your childhood? Where was it? Where were you born? Where did you grow up? And tell us a little bit about, what were you from Calcutta?
No, I was born in Kanpur in the UP, and I did my early schooling there, kindergarten, and a school called St. Aloysius, which actually was being built when I joined it. I left Kanpur in 1955 when I was going up to Darjeeling as a boarder, and after that I was always in Calcutta. My holidays were always spent in Calcutta. So, Kolkata now, but Calcutta then. And yes, I never went back to Kanpur again after that. I just fell in love with the city. Calcutta became my home. And my second home was Darjeeling, where I spent over 12 years, school, college, and some of my happiest memories were of my college days. I went abroad in 1968. The idea was I was going there to join a university in Boston. I had a scholarship to do my master's in education. I was very keen to be a speech therapist, but unfortunately, I was given the wrong visa by the American visa officer in Calcutta. So I never went to America in the end. I had to change my whole way of thinking. I stayed on in the UK. I did all kinds of jobs there. And I studied fashion. Fashion because I was always interested in doodling. Throughout my school days, I was drawing hairstyles and dresses and in my notebooks.
So this was the 1960s.
This was the 1960s. So it was a time when the UK was the birthplace, actually, of modern fashion. There was Carnaby Street, there was Bieber's, there was Mary Quant, there was all these names, but Laura Ashley. So London was really the hub at that time. And I had a ball. I had a ball. I worked in a theatre. That's one of the reasons why my love for theatre is also showing up in my books. But I worked in a theatre, though I didn't act. I was in a much simpler job, selling chocolates and cold drinks to the audience during the interval. But it was a good time. It was good fun, and I was young, so I was willing to put my hand to everything.
And then you came back to Calcutta and started the fashion business.
I came back to Calcutta. I didn't start the fashion business immediately. I didn't know how to start. There was no such thing as a fashion designer in those days. The only other person who dabbled in fashion was Ritu Kumar, and she was the designer. She was basically an embroidery exponent. She did clothes for the rack. You walked into one of her boutiques and you had the same thing in different sizes. I was never interested in that. I always wanted to work with individuals, be it men or women. So I started by literally walking my feet off, from looking for tailors all over Calcutta who would do my work for me, and then I'd have to synchronize that with the customer, so that the customer would come to my house at the same time as the tailor would come to the house. It didn't work very well. I either had the customer waiting for 3 hours or the tailor waiting for 3 hours. Eventually, I managed to get one tailor, and he sat in the house with my mother's sewing machine, hand sewing machine, and that's how I started.
So that was, and your fashion business became your profession. You mentioned that right up till COVID.
Yes.
When did you start writing?
I started writing I had written a novel when I was 17. It was the year I was doing my senior Cambridge. And I got so engrossed in the story, in the life of my characters, and that in the atmosphere that I was creating, that I neglected I was still lucky to get a first division, but I could have got a better one. But that's when I first started writing, when I was 17. And in those days, we had publishers who were kinder, who were more empathetic, and they were not as money-minded, finance-driven as they are today. So I thought I'd done a brilliant thing. I finished a book. I was going to be the youngest writer on the block, and I chose the top, very top publishers in the UK. One was, I think, Macmillan, and the other was also with an M. I can't remember it now, but so I sent off my manuscripts to both of them. And I'm so sure I get a letter saying, it's been accepted, we are printing you. But of course, they sent me back with, they took the crumbs and my manuscripts back to me with letters.
So this was the time were you in college or were you in?
I was in school. I was finished school.
Wow.
I had finished school and then I joined college. First year in St. Xavier's, doing my BCom, which was a course which had nothing to do with me. I mean, I was literally bulldozed into it by my father. I did 2 years of that, did my part 1 and was most surprised that I didn't get through. But all I did was give up blank papers. So I said, oh God, what do I tell my family? I'm going to throw myself on the next bus that comes down Park Street. In those days we had buses on Park Street. But then eventually, of course, I went up to Darjeeling and did my English honours there.
So that was the first book. In which year was that?
I did my C.A. Cambridge in 1962. So, yeah, that's the first book.
In 62. And then when did you start writing again?
Again was 2018, I think. I had suddenly got a message that a very dear friend of mine, who was, she had been in school with me, she'd been in the UK, we would meet. I mean, she was a dear friend, she was my headmaster's daughter, and she had a spinal problem, so she was always in a wheelchair. And I heard that she had passed. And that's the day I made up my mind to write. And I wanted to make her my central character. So that was when Calcutta Queen of the East was born. And it took me almost 4 years to write that book. And while I was writing that, then I wrote others. I wrote like the Himalayan love story, Trafficked, and eventually completed this one. And I mean, the character Elizabeth Page in the book,
In the Queen of the East.
Queen of the East, was based on Betty Alloy, this friend of mine.
Would you say it was driven by grief?
I don't know if it was grief so much as the need to recreate times that we have spent together. It was more like a nostalgia. The one time that I was actually chasing my youth again. I've never really been driven to go back in time. I was quite happy with the way I was going forward. But this suddenly gave me a jolt. And we're all mortal. We've all got to say goodbye one day. And Betty's leaving, Betty's going, affected me.
So Queen of the East, Himalayan love story, Trafficked, then Curtain Calls.
Curtain Calls came later. There was sorority in between. There was Tara, an ordinary girl, and then came Curtain Calls.
So you've published 6 books up to now?
Up to now 7.
7 books. Okay. Wow. That's between 2018 and 2025.
Yes.
And you're currently working on a new one.
On my latest.
Isn't that a story of rediscovery,
Or reinvention.
a reinvention?
I had to keep myself busy. I couldn't allow myself to just flounder. I'd give, my work had come to a standstill. My creativity had met with a full stop.
The world has known you as a designer, yeah, somebody in the business of fashion. And when in 2018 you started writing and subsequently got 7 books published, how did people around you react? Did they take you
Seriously?
Yeah.
I don't know really how many of them took me seriously. Uh, it's known that if you have more than one profession or more than one arrow to your bow, that you're just a dilettante. So I could have been seen as a dilettante as well. There were friends of mine who were highly supportive, like you, Ruth, and there were friends of mine who would sit stiffly in a chair in my house and not look around in case they spotted one of my paintings. So, yeah, there was a very mixed reaction. Much of my family chose to ignore the fact that I was doing this. They thought of me as a fashion designer. It took them a long time to accept that, and now to suddenly accept other sides of my creativity became difficult for them. My son was very supportive, and that gave a certain amount of credibility to other members of my family.
We'll take a break before we move to the next segment.
Yeah, I'm done.
How is it coming out?
We still have around 10 minutes we can do.
No, what I mean is, how is the
Video?
video, the conversation? Is it?
No, it's
Stilted,
just, no,
is
it's
it,
interesting.
huh?
It's interesting.
It's not stilted,
No,
It's fine.
and it's not dead.
no.
Because Ruth always says I'm very dead in front of the camera.
No, I think you've also not had me as an interviewer.
Of course I have.
Well, on those home
Yeah.
things.
We can go for another 10 minutes and take a break.
Okay. No, so segment 2 then I'll do later because I need Uwa for that. Segment 3, let me try. This is a writing life. Okay. So do you write So do you write with music, silence, or noise?
I think I write mostly with silence. Noise, definitely not. Occasionally music. There's a dichotomy here. I only want to listen to what I like, and then when I like something, then I tend to pay more attention to that than to what I'm doing or what I'm writing. So silence is probably the best.
What's your genre of music?
Oh, I like jazz standards very much. Music of the 50s, music of the 60s. I love the blues. Anything which is a cacophonous sound, I don't like.
Some of your favorite singers?
Oh, Sarah
performers.
Vaughan. I love Sarah Vaughan, Nancy Wilson, Louis Armstrong, Dean Martin. These are my...
Anything contemporary and modern?
Yes, I like Justin Bieber. But now he's also becoming way out of my league, you know. And Siley, Miley Cyrus is another one I like. But in small doses. I can't listen to them, ad nauseum.
What keeps you awake at night as a writer?
Working out conversations, working out dialogues, working out plots, trying to find something smart to say. My characters are my friends. I write about them because I create them. I create them in the form, in the style that I would like people to be, and so I must make them interesting as well. So conversation and dialogue is very important, and that keeps me awake at night.
How do you shape your writing, especially, how do your travels shape your writing? Because most of your books tend to move between Darjeeling, Calcutta, and UK, but other countries of Europe as well. So can you tell us a little bit about what is the significance of these places have for you, and why do they keep on recurring as characters themselves?
Darjeeling is self-evident. I loved the town. I loved the ambience. I loved the hills. I loved the aromas of pine, the snows, the sunsets, even the rain. So Darjeeling is for me is almost like a fairy tale, even though I haven't been back for over 20 years. Calcutta is my home, and my time in London was very special. I enjoyed every bit of it. So these are the main areas, or the main countries, the main places. In Tara, I've written about Kanpur as well, because that's where I was born. I've written about undivided Punjab, which was more from what I've heard from family stories and things like that, never having been to the Punjab myself. Paris fascinated me. The very fact that I was almost penniless when I was there, and I knew what the wealthy were like. So I created my in Calcutta Queen of the East. I created my Paris. I created my millionaire friends, and I had a chance to work with fashion designers when I was in London. So I was able to create the salons. So that's why I've used these places.
So most of your stories, when these Calcutta, Darjeeling, London or Paris, they are in the time period of between 1940 to 1960s.
The earlier period after partition.
Right.
And Calcutta, because see, everybody knows what Calcutta is like today. What am I going to tell them about it? But how many of them know what Calcutta was? And I think they deserve to know what their city was. They deserve to know that this was the Queen of the East.
How was Calcutta Queen of the East?
After Calcutta, you just fell into the Bay of Bengal. There was nothing after that. Hong Kong came much later. There was Paris, Beirut, Calcutta. And this was a melting pot of people from all over the world. You had airlines, you had banks, you had commercial firms, you had the lot. So it was so cosmopolitan. And the club life, the nightlife, the lights, you can't believe it because if you've not seen it. And then all came crashing down when the regime changed. And for all the light we had, now we were in darkness
In the 70s.
in the 70s. Up to 17 hours a day, we could be in darkness. There weren't even traffic lights.
Let me move to your the novel that you're writing about as. Let me move to your latest work, the one that you're working on right now.
Which, before you go any further, I must tell you, is being dedicated to you.
Is it about me or?
No, it's not about you,
Okay.
but it's being dedicated to you.
So that brings me to another question actually. How much of your books are autobiographical? How much of your books, the characters that we read about, are they fictitious or are they composites of the people that you've known?
I don't think it's possible to be 100% fictitious. There's going to be areas where people you know shape the characters, or the people you knew will shape the characters. There are going to be areas where certain of your own quirks are going to appear in your characters. And other characters are purely imaginary. They've been created for a purpose. I don't think it's either autobiographical completely or it's fictitious completely. It's definitely a chorus. You have to marry the two together. My characters are all formed with my likes and dislikes, and there's so many occasions I feel when people are unfair and they don't have the opportunity or the courage to tell somebody off. But you'll never find my characters without that. They will tell you off. You know, they don't like something.
So that's an interesting point. But, today we live in a day of very fragile egos. We're constantly offended by things. Somebody makes a film, we're offended by it. Somebody has written a book about something, we're offended by it. When people take offense these days, the offense is not just it's not quiet. It's
very, very vocal.
It can be very vocal. It can even lead to violence. Yeah. As a writer, how cautious are you? And has there ever been a time where you wanted to write about something or someone, but you've stopped yourself saying that I don't know, what this could unleash?
Well, the thing is, I have never written giving names. My names are all fictitious. So there's always that clause. Even if it appears to be somebody you know, it isn't. And the writer holds that as a guarantee that...
Has there ever, I'm going to push you on that, has there ever been a time when somebody has read one of your books and come to you and says, I know this person that you've written about?
Oh yes, yes. But it's not been unpleasant.
Okay.
But it has been interesting.
Have you kept the unpleasantness away?
I want to entertain. I want my books to entertain. I don't want my books to turn up a can of worms.
Okay. And
I'm not here to preach.
So you've stayed away from offending sensibilities when you have. Has that been a line of caution, therefore?
I just haven't gone in that direction. I've never needed to go in that direction. Maybe in certain cases where the truth could hurt. Well, tough. I've just changed the names.